So now that we've all got a feel for how the talk's going to go, we'll get into it. So first of all, what is sleep? Sleep is an absolutely vital function. However, it seems to also be one of the first things that goes out of our routine when we're busy. We need, as adults, about 7 to 8 hours, although there are some individual differences. But however, a lot of adults, it's shown, seem to get about 5 to 6 hours sleep, which is generally not sufficient. Next slide, please. Sleep is a basic human right, whether it's recognised or not, and it is as crucial to health and well-being and social functioning as sleeping and socialising and drinking water. You will actually die from a lack of sleep quicker than you will die from starvation. There's quite a bit of research done, mostly with rats, showing that sleep and your general health and well-being will decrease if you haven't got enough sleep. There's a really, really interesting study done with a gentleman quite a while ago called Randy, I think his name was, and what he did was he tried to go without sleep for the longest period of time. He went for quite a few days, but after those days he actually started hallucinating and believing that he was a famous football player, and started to hear voices and things like that. So after a few days he started to not be very well mentally. Sleep is also a form of learnt behaviour. It's a complex interplay of a person's biology, their psychology, and social and cultural factors. So sleep involves biological things such as light. Your body actually regulates on a slightly more than a 24-hour clock. So if you were locked in a basement, let's say, please don't be locked in a basement, without any light getting in, your body would actually run overtime at about approximately a 25-hour cycle, a little bit less. But because light gets shone in through our eyes and actually hits a particular part of the brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, and that's actually what regulates our sleep cycle and makes us stick to a 24-hour cycle. Sleep is also it's a historical act, and it has changed through history, and it's a cultural act, and it changes as well through cultures. Some cultures have 2 sleeping periods, so they have a biphasic sleep period. They sleep for a few hours in the beginning of the night, and then they might get up and do things, and then they also sleep for a second phase during the night, getting about 6 to 8 hours in total, but in 2 slots. And also historically, Europeans used to sleep in 2 phases as well, but now a lot of people in the Western world tend to sleep in 1 solid block. It's also a very personal act, and it's a very private and individual act, and people will have different preferences for pillows and blankets and light and noise, and that comes back to your environment that you sleep in as well. This is a very personal and private act, and people have to be quite comfortable to sleep. Next slide, please. So sleep, as we look at it, one of the things that when I first came to studying sleep was I got exposed to what's called an EEG. Basically, what this is it's measuring brain function during sleep. And brain function during sleep is how we measure how deep a person is in sleep. When you start your first cycle and you go through multiple cycles throughout the night, and these cycles actually shrink in length throughout the night as well, each cycle takes around 90 minutes. And you'll go through a series of stages. What you can see on the graph in front of you, if you look on the horizontal axis, you're looking at the night, through the whole night. So the beginning is the beginning of the night through to the end of the night. And if you look on the vertical axis, you can see the sleep stages that a person goes through. They'll actually start from wake and go into a stage 1. And then they'll go into stage 2, which is a slightly deeper stage of sleep. And stage 3 and 4, which is actually now seen as one stage and just called stage 3, is a very deep stage of sleep. Stages 1 and 2 are important, but at the moment research seems to be particularly focusing on these stages 3, 4 and also REM, which people colloquially know as dreaming sleep, which is a bit of a misnomer because now there's research starting to come out saying that people actually dream during all stages of sleep. So that stage 3-4 is also called slow wave sleep, and it's when our brain it's in a very deep, restive stage of sleep. There's very little muscle activity, and your brain is producing these big rolling waves. Your breathing is very steady. It's when someone looks very fast asleep. You'll come out of these deep stages of sleep and go into REM. REM is when your brain, what we think your brain is doing is sort of recategorizing all your memories and information. And it's often when people have the most organized dreams and what you will remember. You go through these cycles about 5 times in the night.